Yeah, so a lot of times when I use the liquidity tool, it's on the lower time frames, which you'll see a lot of liquidations here, but they're important liquidations because of how I trade this other system. Because you'll see when they line up with levels that I'm looking at, they tend to go for those levels. So you see a lot on the short side. There's a lot of people shorting this, which they baited them in pretty good. You can see this is, they just went sideways, keep hitting this, make it look like a good short, and then reverse straight through, start liquidating them. This would be a good spot for them to come to. They take enough liquidations, but we could hold here. We'll see what happens. But basically, yeah, like I'd be looking where the liquidations are, in relation to the levels that I'm watching and where how price action is going. You see on the long side, there's a decent amount down here. They may go for that later on, but there's not a lot in this area. So to me, before this move happened, this is kind of the area I'd be looking more for as opposed to heading down here and going for this or down here, which is a pretty big drop.
Do you change those settings at all on that tool, or just run it out of the box?
No, I believe they're just standard. I may have messed with it at some point, but I think they're just standard. They worked. The main thing for me is like with all the Rainbows tools is like I'll mess with it, see what works with how I see price action. It's the same with the rainbow colors. I'll have the 4 hour dialed in a little bit different, and the lower time frame slightly different, just to basically how I see alts. Like I can show you. Just give me one sec. Let me pull up Popcat here. So let me full screen this. Yeah, so basically Popcat, like you'll see a lot of pinks and purples. Like this may look hot to most people, but the way I'm used to trading Popcat, like when these colors hit, that's when I know the volatility is on, and it just works for the way I see the coins. Other people will have theirs dialed in different ways. You'll see other coins, they won't be printing pinks even though they're the same. So once they start to get the pinks, especially with Popcat, I'll tend to be a little more cautious about scaling out of my longs. But yeah, I just basically dial them in to what works for me and how I see these. Because like I trade these coins all the time, right? So just to how I see these coins, and if I like, especially on the lower time frame, you'll see them hit yellows and whites more often. If I'm seeing these hit yellows and whites in the levels I'm watching, then I'll tend to be more confident in taking these trades over something else that's not hitting yellows or whites.
Do you read into the liquidity box on the bottom right much? I know that's something like Crypto ISO tries to keep an eye on when it
I
gets
mean, I do.
overloaded.
If it's really starting to get out of whack, like if I'm seeing Bitcoin and everybody just being heavily short on the low time frames, for sure. But I think a lot of it is just I'll look for where liquidity is in relation to what levels I'm watching, and I'm more interested in where these liquidations are as opposed to shorts and long. I mean, the delta's basically even on this, so you don't really have an advantage there. But if you look, on the low time frame, you're seeing all these liquidations here where you're not seeing that much down here.
Mm-hmm.
They've already taken what they need to take down there before. So this is where I'd be like, and you see here, they're just chewing through it, right? Chewing through it here, sideways, shoots up, chewing through some more, gets some more people to short, bait them in, and then boom, go through those. So that's just it's just one of those extra confluence things. I know my charts to whoever's watching this right now probably hurting their eyes, and I apologize for that. But you make good trades off it. It doesn't really matter to me. It doesn't bother me. But there's a lot going on. It's a very colorful chart, but it works. At the end of the day, I'm starting to print real clusters now, which is cool. But yeah, I mean, at first I was like, oh man, this is hurting the eyes. But at the end of the day, it works. So
That's what I tell
that's all that
everybody at
matters to
first,
me.
because I have a lot of like people that will like try the rainbow trends, and they'll like put every single tool on at once, and I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. There's a reason it's not making sense. And I was like, hey, you gotta go pick the tools that like work for your style, because like I even have a rainbow theory like OG who's been with me for like over 3 years. He doesn't even use the rainbow colors. He's strictly running off pivots.
Yeah, I might know who that is. And at the end of the day, it's really about what works for every trader, right? There's a lot of people, there's tons of people in our group that have, super super good skills in different things that they use. It's all about having that edge. So whatever works for you and whatever tools that helps you get that edge, that's all that matters. Because we all trade different time frames, different setups, different coins. You know,
Oh.
it's just really about dialing into what works for you, right?
Oh yeah, the stuff you do makes sense to me, but it makes me very, very uncomfortable.
Yeah, and I get that.
It,
I mean, you know, I have days my eyes hurt too. So, but you know, when the P and L works, the P and L works, right?